I support New Jersey's teaching mandates. I pledge to teach the truth. This is actually the month of June 2021, and my students and I just finished creating this bulletin board in our hallway. We are celebrating Pride in our classroom. I'm in a 7th grade social studies classroom, and we also have discussed the Holocaust this year, genocide, and anything that goes out of the Amistad curriculum, including current events. My students feel comfortable having these conversations. We talk about language, creating braver and safer classrooms. Some of the information even behind me shows why we're having these conversations and why we're infusing LGBTQ and civil rights into our classrooms, mostly on a daily basis. So what does it mean to provide LGBTQ inclusive education? Number 1, to erase hate through education. Number 2, to support all of my students. And number 3, to create braver and safer spaces. My students created these flags. Their identities are represented here, and it was a nice and meaningful project that we've done together. And if we weren't having these kinds of conversations and doing things together, the students wouldn't have been able to bring up different things. Like a student today, literally as they were making the pansexual flag, let me know that they're really excited to go to Pride in New York City, and they're going to go with their mom and their sister, and so things like that. And if we're not teaching in the classroom and bringing up characters and stories and current events and history and accomplishments, if we're not bringing these topics into the classroom as teachers, we're not opening any space for the students to respond and chat and talk to each other. And also we struggle through it. Sometimes people say the wrong thing and we have to navigate that in the moment. And I'm not perfect. My students are not perfect. And we, like I said, we struggle through it, but we're, one day at a time covering these topics, and it seems to be working. And I'm really excited to share this with anyone who's watching this. And I hope that other schools, I'm in New Jersey, I hope that other schools in this country will be able to be courageous and have mandates such as New Jersey, so that students all over the country will feel safe in their classrooms. So, really, what should just be a simple message, but I understand that's not really happening across the country. This classroom is a diverse, inclusive, accepting, welcoming, safe space for everyone. We are currently celebrating Pride Month. We celebrated Women's History Month. We celebrated Black History Month. We celebrated Latino Heritage Month, Asian American Month. So, we try to incorporate these conversations and celebrations in various ways, not just through the text, not just through current events, but in celebratory ways, just like this. Students draw anime and make it fun and make it relative to what they're interested in. Marsha P. Johnson, all sorts of topics can be covered. Once you dive into the information, there's no shortage of materials, and there's so many people willing to help teachers get more comfortable and want to incorporate and infuse these topics into our classrooms. Let's see if I could move my camera here. We also have another bulletin board up where we're able to. So we also focused on this one. We covered STEAM and Black women that were Black mathematicians, such as this one, the story of hidden figures, the true story of 4 Black women in the space race, and making it motivational so that our students can see themselves and be inspired. Once you took the first step, anything was possible. And then the students were able to make, draw these out in the formulas and see Black women doing math and science and technology. We also did STEAM and covered transgender scientists. There's so much to do. We hardly have enough time to even cover as much as we want to. Another example, today in our 7th grade class, we're teaching about the Constitution. So we were covering the Bill of Rights. We showed the Westboro Baptist Church about their free speech to share their hateful messages. And then we also countered that act of free speech with our free speech and the messages that you see here. There's no shortage of ways and strategies and topics and text to incorporate all of this and infuse all of this. Earlier in the year in our colonization unit, we learned about Two-Spirit Indigenous people. So that was another way to incorporate LGBTQ individuals and stories into our Common Core lessons. And there's a lot to be said. I'm really grateful to be part of the Zinn Education Project and Black Lives Matter at School and all the educators in New Jersey and across this country that are working to make our classrooms just safe and brave for the students. And it shouldn't be that difficult. They have the right to a fair and appropriate and respectful education, and it's our job to teach them and make that space possible for them. I support New Jersey's teaching mandate. I pledge to teach the truth.